let's just, whilst we're just waiting for the last few people to come in, there's plenty of room down that way, by the way. Come in, welcome. Let's take a moment to call in the Holy I Am Presence. Yeah, let's take a moment just to consciously invoke the highest of all that you are, the highest of all that you will ever be into this moment, the I Am of your eternal, immutable, stainless purity self. To consciously invoke this into your body so we can begin this journey with the presence of the one that's watching, the one that watches your mind, that loves you unconditionally. Just to really open yourself to feel this as you feel yourself sitting on the lap of the Great Mother, opening yourself to the harmony that is emanating from her crystal core. As you open yourself as an offering, as you open this body as a conscious offering, for union, so that the Mother, the Great Mother, can spiral up from the center of this earth to connect and impact the base of your spine, this lower gate, which keeps you rooted to the earth when you open yourself consciously to take your place. So let's begin this talk today, this workshop of whatever it's going to be, in the offering of you to take your place here on this earth at this moment in time, to feel your connection in great harmony, for the light of tranquility to enter you, to trust your belonging here on this earth. Oh. So, beautiful people who can't fit in, if you would like to somehow, can we make a little channel there? Because there's more spaces this way. Thank you. And actually, even people at the front, if you could come forward a bit, I think it would be fair to let everybody in that way. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, that feels really yummy, you being this close. Like, thank you. Nice. Intimacy. Maybe that's the starting point. Intimacy, into me I see. Okay, so after the lady taking her shoes off, I'm going to begin. One with the green top on. Okay. Yeah. So, family, how many of you have heard me talk before? Just to, because I don't want to be boring and repeat myself too much, okay? Okay. So, I am going to then just share a little bit about why I'm speaking about what I'm speaking, and to just share a little bit about a path that I walk, which is, I'm not presenting something to you today to say, please follow me, or this is the way, the truth and the light, and this is the one way. What I am going to do is to share a very deep inspirations coming from physical, spiritual awakenings and attainments to inspire another level of sacred relationship for each of you, because I really have compassion and deep understanding of the yearning, the deep yearning for every single person who has wished with all their heart that they could be in that merger, that melted at one-ment with another, to bring that highest space of your meditation when you're in no mind and you feel in complete dissolution, spacious, clear light, to be in that through lovemaking, to be in that in sacred intimacy, to have a sacred relationship. Now the thing is, we have come from a long period of an unawakened humanity. So within this short talk today, I really want to talk about it from a path called ageless wisdom, which is an encompassing understanding of the Vedas, the highest Buddhist tantras, Christianity, Sufism, all paths that lead to the truth, to the center, to bring you back into your own sacred evolution. So it's very inclusive. Within it, and certainly in my DNA remembrance and understanding, I'm going to speak about cosmic law, and through Shivaism, the Tao, and then coming back to the highest tantras. And the reason for this, I'm a grandmother now and like 61. I have really had the opportunity in this lifetime to taste the nectar of the absolute, the opulence of the absolute, and then experience that level of dissolution in intimacy, where you are dissolved to feel the highest places. And I feel this inspiration for your generation, because you are coming into, you're basically the cutting edge of what's going to become a golden age. So I'll be talking about that within it. I feel all shivery to even say it. Did anybody else just get that shiver? Yeah, you are. You are. And there are many of you here that can have conscious conception and have an extraordinary level of beautiful sacred relationships. And yet I know how painful this is, which is why I started off by saying, my brothers, I love you with all my heart. This is not a slaying of you. I'm a mother of 3 sons, aged 40, 35 and 27. And I have such compassion because somehow the rejection towards the masculine, and every woman here will be able to put their hand up on this one, including myself, where we as the feminine go in thinking that we're spiritually superior to you, is not good, is it, sisters, when we're in relationships? So this is about how do we build the bridge to open ourselves and to feel trust and to go to sacred relating, because obviously every man came through the yoni of a woman, was birthed from a woman. And if they don't know tenderness and presence, they were obviously not given it. They weren't imbued with tender touch and deep meeting. And so, of course, they can't necessarily give it. And very few women, I was going to say, know how to really ask for what it is that you need to be met. And all of this, anyway, can't happen until you meet you. So this is part of the inspiration. And in that, I want to try and explain it from the perspective of understanding cosmic law and your own awakening, that's going to bring you into an alchemical marriage internally, for you to then be able to share that with the beloved. Because where we all are from Hollywood and wherever we've gone in the unconsciousness in this last 2,000 years, most people are sold a story that you're going to get into a relationship and that person's going to complete you and make you better. And 98% of people can honestly bear witness to the fact that that's not true. And that expectation and pressure to your beloved to complete you and make you feel happy is what pushes you away from each other and takes you out of authenticity and the real that is needed to come into this quality of the highest dissolution. When I say that word, dissolution, what I'm talking about is where you can come into an intimacy where there's no mind and you're not thinking, oh, let me do this to pleasure her like this or him. You know, like all of that stuff that goes on, where you're actually looking to attempt to get this pleasure, orgasmic moment that feels ever receding and hard to achieve. I want to try and explain the difference and how, and it comes to understanding cosmic fire. So let's start at the beginning. You have a physical body. Your physical body is beyond magnificent, beyond what you can even comprehend or imagine. That's better. It's so profound. So let's put it like this. Your physical body that is containing the DNA from your mother, your father, and your grandmothers and grandfathers. It's a suit that you're wearing to hold yourself here within a dream state. So I'm not making this up, I'm not channeling this. This is cosmic law. This is what is understood from all the sacred paths in terms of ageless wisdom, i.e., all of the paths lead you back to understanding that in reality you have a spirit. Your spirit is your immutable self that's made of cosmic fire. The highest point of your consciousness, where you are at one with the one. You've never been separated. And at the highest point of your consciousness, your spirit, you're in Yabyum. Does anyone not know what this word means? Okay, so Yabyum is when you're with your divine consort and you're always in union. It's a sacredness of where you are really complete. That's your spirit, yes. A divine so have you seen pictures of Tibetan Thangka paintings where you see a Buddha looking like he's in lovemaking with a feminine form? Okay, or if you think of Krishna, Radha, Vishnu with Lakshmi, Shiva with Parvati. You know, like they're always somebody in the highest point of attainment as an expression of the one is with a divine consort, and they're always masculine, feminine. That doesn't mean, so people who are in same-sex relationships, one will always play out more to polarize. One will be more feminine, one will be more masculine. But in the highest point of consciousness in spirit, you are in a divine lovemaking with your beloved. So it's natural to feel that you want to be in this energy of belonging. And yet, in order to evolve and have the quality of relationship that you're praying for, holding in your heart, glimpsing to be possible, we have to come into the ultimate inner union, and that takes a really divine level of attitude. So our evolution, we're designed as solar beings. So we have this amazing gift of a physical body, but that physical body has 21 minor chakras, 7 major chakras, 1,000 points of vortexes of light, which is your meridian system. They're gateways. channels that flow, and then 72,000 channels for your nadi system. I mean, that's mind-blowing. And in every lifetime within this one night's dreaming of your soul's evolution, every life here on this earth, in reality, is one night's dreaming in your soul's evolution. So imagine that even. So what's the purpose of your life if you are here in dream? It's actually to accumulate and generate merit, chi, prana, that gets stored in your chakra bodies, that's then absorbed as you leave your body, as your body begins to decay or is burnt, which is a good way to go to clear all karmas physically, rather than put that kind of DNA into the ground like my mum has asked to be, because she's Catholic. But you know, like, it's basically when you leave your body, all the light that you generated through your good deeds, words and actions, your selflessness, walking a path of harmlessness, loving kindness, compassion, tolerance, patience, and the ability to purify your mind and hold another in the highest light. That energy, that chi, that prana, is absorbed back into your chakras, that creates your light body, and then all of that goes to the plane of the causal ocean, which is the plane of cosmic fire, which is where you hold your own unique geometry, the beauty, the flowering of your consciousness of each lifetime is stored as the light of your soul, which is made of electric fire. And your spirit is made of cosmic fire. This is what we've started with. When you call in the holy I am, that's you calling in the I am that I am, where you are in union with the one, the creator, the stainless purity, utter divinity of you. But most people haven't built the bridge to this aspect. And what we're doing right now, what we have been blessed with right now, is a massive fast-track opportunity for all of us to progress and to build the bridge, the Antakarana, the rainbow bridge to the holy I am that I am of your eternal spirit. And that yearning that you yearn, my brothers and sisters, is to be able, in reality, to present yourself in your relationship on this level of divinity, and to be witnessed for the stainless purity of the magnificence of who you really are. But most of us had parents that were distracted and not awake, and were obscured to not be able to reflect back to you the purity of you, and you got tweaked and told off and pushed a bit lift over here and over there, and whatever you did was never seeming to be good enough. And then the whole fucking marketing industry came on top of that as another layer within the false matrix to keep selling to you, oh, your boobs aren't the right shape, you need a bit of Botox now, or what about these type of eyelashes? And it got worse and worse. So you could never look at yourself and feel your true beauty. And you were distracted by scrolling and needing this dopamine effect from outside of yourselves. And because of those places where you couldn't be present with you to feel the light of your soul or your spirit, you were sold another lie in that Hollywood story of thinking that the relationship outside of you is going to come along and make you safe and complete you. And as many people, and I see some older couples here, and I really respect you and thank you for being here, but it takes a lot to have gone through the places where you got bored with each other, the places where you I'm not talking directly to you, right? I'm just talking in general. But for people that stayed in those relationships, a lot of compromise had to happen. A lot of discomfort, of numbing yourselves down to be complacent, because familiarity breeds contempt. Let's just lie in bed, have a margarita and watch another movie kind of feeling. And the sacredness went out the window. So basically, why I'm saying all of this is really about the planting the seeds to invoke a whole new level of relating, where you meditate together, you harmonize your heart, where you start to consciously harmonize on a chakra level. Because around your physical body, your etheric body contains the gateways to the ultimate highest bliss. And no, you do not need to be taking MDMA, sassafras, or drugs for this. I mean it. And there's no high and no low. But for a woman to say to her lover, I really want to meditate to make love, and I want to make our love making an offering, a prayer, and to come into this stillness, this high level of emanation. It takes so much confidence, so much courage, and I can see some of you are here and you do, and I really respect that. I really deeply respect that, because that is a healing for the planet. And imagine the children that are born into that level of union and harmony, for when things get rocky and shaky, because every single one of you, us, brings our baggage of the places we're not whole in this body, because your very purpose itself to take a body was to help to clear 7 generations back of karma, of everything that wasn't love. So that's full on. Everybody's got a full on journey, their part within the divine plan, to purify everything that was not love, and to train our minds to not project our own wound onto our lover. That's strong. Just that. And from what I see of people who are in a relationship, wow, that is an incredible opportunity for true intimacy, which means into me I see, because your lover is going to reflect all your wounds back to you and show you where you're not healed. And many of us have been in that situation, want to absolutely run. The ego wants to run right there and then, when anybody challenges to show us we're full of crap. So where do we begin? How do we begin? We have to begin with the most radical levels of self-love, to actually come into that place where we detach from feeling our emotional body for a moment, where we swim endlessly, lifetime upon lifetime, taking everything personally, being in self-pity, being irritated, agitated, having our ups and our downs, being aloof, pushing people away. They're all control dramas, where you contract the light of you and separate, because you've separated from your alignment with the source of creation, which is the central spiritual sun. And we all do it. It's very easy to be triggered into our primordial wounds. And our evolution is a massive amount of transformation that we have to all go through every lifetime. Doesn't matter how much of a high being we are. Every time we come back in, we've taken a new body with a new set of wounds and baggages. Now I'm looking at my beautiful black brother here. That's a big story. when you take on the DNA often of slavery. Oh my God, I have 3 black sons. That's so deep, so deep. It's not even something that can be put into words. How much you have to cut through to find yourself as truth, standing strong, and love yourself. So how to love ourselves is to train ourselves to not rest in our emotional body, which we can do because that becomes very subconscious. To every day, you know, I've been somebody that's worked very deeply with plant medicines for the last 20 years, all of them, right from ayahuasca, iboga, all of them. I have very deep reverence to these master plant teachers, and in them I deepen my capacity in terms of looking at the shadow on myself and understanding the psyche of humanity. So my training is esoteric psychology. So what I see about the nature of us is how we can habitually and subconsciously look for what is familiar, that is the sadness, the grief, the pain, the repeated story of the past, which is a bit like putting your tongue in a hole in your tooth when your filling's fallen out. And you know when your filling's fallen out and it's on a Thursday, and by Monday you have to go to the dentist, or Tuesday you didn't get an appointment Monday, and all that whole weekend you kept putting your tongue in the hole in the tooth. Do you know what I'm talking about? So that is what it's like in terms of the habitual mind going to look for the fault or the problem or back into the pain and the sorrow and the grief. And the more you bring your awareness into it, the bigger the hole becomes and the more sore it becomes. My root guru, Padmasambhava from the 8th century, says to find rest in natural great peace from this exhausted mind beaten helplessly by karma and neurotic thought. It's like a glass of muddy water. If you don't stir it, the dirt will just gently settle. But when we're in relationships, somehow it triggers our father wound, our mother wound, and all levels of abandonment and all of this. So I'm not here to say please don't get in a relationship. I'm the exact opposite, right? I love people that's why I'm here actually, because I would love to see more conscious relationships so that more children can be born into harmonious love. I want to help my brothers that flipping well got addicted to pornography for the sake of my daughter who's 22. It's like, what happened? It's not even funny. For the most sexy thing in terms of intimacy and lovemaking is presence. To have the masculine in full presence. To really just, presence is very big and very powerful. The wounded child, girl in you, perhaps, when that presence comes, actually finds it too much. How many of you can see that? So the practice of staying really present, back to presence, will blow your head off in terms of bliss. You definitely don't need drugs. It's the ultimate. And this isn't even going into the subject of all the gateways when you now start to feel the vortexes in your brow center, the quivering, shimmering electric fire of your soul through your throat center, through your sacral, through your base chakra, coming out through your hands. And when you make yourself as an offering to your beloved and you bring sacred touch, and you start to feel your temples open, little gateways inside you open, and you begin to experience that you are a temple. So this isn't here I'm not here to sell my up and coming course that I have because I was already asked to do this, but I am giving actually a 6-month couples course, because I really feel absolutely committed to wanting to support people in a relationship, because no woman wants to tell her lover how to be, and that's good, because actually the minute you do that, it's going to be a problem, because none of us, not one person in this room ever wants to be told what to do. And I really respect that. And do you know where that comes from, by the way? It's our rebellious part of the shadow that actually fell from grace. In Christianity, it would be called the Luciferic spirit, that says, talk to the hand, God, I've got my own ideas about how to run my life. And yet, our return is where we get to the point where we say, dear Father of all creation, dear Mother of all creation, I am done trying. Everything me, the ego, does falls to a pile of shit. And I haven't got a clue how to live my life. Could you please guide me into the right activity within the divine plan each day, every moment, all the time? Like, that's a point of awakening. If you haven't been there yet, that's coming. And it's a good place to be. I've been humbled so many times when I realise, oh, here I go again. Why have I just done that big spiral of all those months and years of so much effort and energy to maybe make a cake, in my case, make a cake business, where I was like giving everybody all this prasadam, so I thought at the beginning, but like it became an obsession, and it was a world within a world, and it wasn't my dharma. As ayahuasca told me the first time I drank ayahuasca all those years ago, she said, your dharma is definitely not giving people sugar. So the reason I'm saying this, though, that point where you get sick of yourself and you're just so feeling so much density and self-absorption, and you realize that you've got lost within your own journey, and it's not fulfilling, and it's heavy to get out of bed, and you can't see any divine plan. You look out and you go, what? Gaza had, how many million people live in Gaza? Is it 2.5 million? 2 million now, because they just killed 500,000 probably, but that's not a joke. But 2 million people living in a 25-mile strip of land by 7 miles, 25 miles long by 7 miles. This is how unconscious we have been as a race. So I'm bringing that point in terms of how much individually we can go so unconscious and get lost in our lives. Why? Because we're living in the emotional body, that lens, that one lens with our tongue in the hole in the tooth, living in the pain body. And for you to evolve and to wake up, you have to train yourself to become the witness of your thoughts and where you put your energy in your body, which is the temple that houses your consciousness. Because your body is so magnificent with these sacred gateways. If you were to bring your awareness every day to look through the gateway of your heart, literally training yourself, the one that's watching, to come down, do it with me now, and come down right into the center of your chest, where you have one wing here of one lung, one wing here of another lung, and you just take a couple of deep breaths, holding that breath and just really resting in here. And then you were to ask yourself the question, what would love do? And you come into stillness through this gateway. A whole different story emerges every day, because this is the synthesizing force within your being, where you are aligned to the presence of the One. This is how God talks to you, through your heart, in silence. God doesn't use words. It's telepathic. And this is how you get your divine instruction, through emptying of your mind to drop yourself down here. And this is what will reveal your way to take you into your ultimate fulfillment, just by resting yourself here. And every time that you go into that itchy, scratchy place that wants to bite back and find fault and bring turbulence, you know that it isn't your heart. Just that one thing. But we are utterly magnificent. And so I'm just going to speed through this little bit. I'm going to just tell you a bit about how it gets to the point where you come into a non-dual place within your being, where you feel spacious and free, empty of needing to achieve an outcome that allows perfection to manifest all the time. So how this comes about is 3 stages of what's called initiation in the Ageless Wisdom. And top tip here, please, if anybody says they can initiate you, that's bullshit. Because only you can do this. It's between you and the Creator. And we're all in different levels of ripening, because all of you have taken on different bodies. And you may have been violated as a child, or you may have watched your father beat your mother, and you may have never felt safe in your body ever. And you have a very high offering of you. There was a reason for all of that. You came in to offer yourself to transmute something for the sake of the bloodline, 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. So it's strong. We've all got different things. We can't just transform everything in one moment. It's a process. But the starting point, you're all beyond that, because you wouldn't even be here having this conversation with me. You would have left by now. I doubt you would have got to this festival, to be honest. So the first stage of our awakening, which you will remember well. Bye, Firas. First stage of awakening is when you become strongly aware of this. Generally when you actually become aware that you're really sick of being self-absorbed, and you really want to get beyond that. So you decide that you're going to start having a little bit of time every day to sit and meditate or watch yourself come inward. And when you do, every one of us comes to notice there's this rampant, judgmental, critical mind function, left brain mind function, that's always analysing, judging, putting yourself down and putting others down. That's a program that you're imprinted with. And it's in the false matrix, it's in Mara, samsara, it's dark. But we've all got it, and it's part of our labor, like the labors of Hercules. Like, you have to labor it to purify it. And as you do, as you start to become aware of this part, and you say, do you know what? I just don't want to hang out with this person, because they just gossip. They talk badly of people, and I can't do that anymore. I don't want to be pulled into them finding fault and seeing the negative. So I'm going to stop that. And then the program carries on until you become aware that you're doing it to you. You put yourself down. You have limiting affirmations every day that say things like, I can't afford that, or I'm always like this. And then you limit yourself. And they're not your programs, you inherited them. And once you become aware of them and you start to make the choice, I'm not going to say that negative thing, and I'm not going to put myself down. I'm just actually going to practice quite the opposite. In fact, I'm not going to say anything apart from using my mouth to uplift another person. And once that happens, your throat chakra that's so specifically designed starts to turn clockwise. And it's aligned to your sacral chakra, where all your juicy sexual life force energy is here. This potency, this absolute fountain of creativity that you have within yourself. So once you have mastered or come into a level of mastery of your throat center, you start to draw up the energy of your sacral chakra, and that builds a bridge, and you come into what's called right relationship with you. The first initiation is the initiation of right relationship, and when you're in right relationship with you, you're in right relationship with all beings. So all humanity has to get to this stage. Basically today, as part of this talk, I really want to go a bit more into understanding what's going to be the golden age, what we have to all go through to get there. So a lot of people have been going through the first initiation. Not they stop flirting, they definitely don't waste their sexual energy, they are not ruled by materialism. So when the sacral chakra is anti-clockwise, so basically when you gossip and you speak badly and you find fault, you're pushing down on your sacral center, and your sacral center, your sexual energy goes anti-clockwise, and then it's always desiring. It's really full of desire. It desires to get that orgasm that's all the way over there, that the point of people fucking, sorry for swearing, beating each other, bondage. How could that be good? What do they call it again? Sadomasochistic. People used to ask me, would I be on the Tantra board of the UK years ago? And once I realised half of them were doing this, I was like, no, I'm not associating with that. That is not part of the divine plan. So basically, that whole place where we're talking debauchery now, where the sacral center is going so deeply the other way that nothing can satisfy you. New car, another new dress, another this, another that. You can never feel this divine satisfaction, which is your innate state. Because your innate state, when you're in divine union with the one, when you feel the light of your spirit, every cell in your body opens to a cosmic orgasm, which is what your yearning is. Then you're with the Mother, Father, creation, and their union. So the exact opposite of that is violation of children and absolute debauchery and messy relationships. Even in many of the tantric schools, I'm sorry to say, where it just becomes so deeply about pleasure and it's not about love. Because divine union is about true love, an absolute outpouring of generosity beyond words. And it's about the presence and meeting. And in reality, from what I've seen and experienced, if you ever come to that with one person, you would never be bored of that person, ever. You would have, in the Hindus, they know that you can be together for 7 lifetimes because there's a lot to get through. You would never get bored of each other. Because, in fact, the Taoists say it takes a man 7 years to know a woman's body. And it takes a man 7 more years to know her emotional body. And it takes a man 7 more years to know her spirit. So that whole thing of this boredom with each other, that's unhealthy. It's that same agitated scrolling addiction to some dopamine thing outside of yourself rather than true meeting, which can bring immense sacred satisfaction. And every droplet, every seed, my brothers, is so sacred. Every seed. is an elixir, a substance that can be seen on the inner planes. No joke, the ayahuascanas will tell you. The two substances that can be seen on the inner planes are the woman's blood and the man's seed. So it is really important to treasure your seed, and that's very difficult because my sisters have not had the ability or even any true teaching. It's only just beginning to arrive. The veils are lifting to help a man hold their seed. Because you holding your seed is going to mean it travels up your sushumna and opens you into an orgasm internally where you're in union with the one that's way beyond something when you ejaculate and then feel, oh God, I just don't feel good after that. And that exhaustion, and often, and what I'm watching, you know, I work with a lot of couples all over the world that I love so much, and I see that, you know, it's interesting when I see men waking up spiritually, a lot of them feel like they stop actually wanting to have sex with their partners. And my sister's like, but lovemaking is my spiritual practice. I want to make love. And they're like, they don't. But what it is, why they're not wanting to a lot of the time is because they don't want to feel lust in their body. And I really understand that and respect that. So how do we turn lust into love? How do we bring the sacred energy up? Because your sexual energy is so sacred, and your erotic pleasure is so sacred, and it's good and it's healthy. But how do you keep it that it doesn't tip over the edge into lust? And how do you stay in true intimacy to be in the heart of love, where your love making becomes this profound offering that actually expands your auric field very many miles wide? So I really want to say this. I'm not here to make anyone feel bad about themselves. We are collectively in a spiritual awakening. Our forefathers definitely weren't awakened. This information wasn't even here. I am even breaking some traditions by teaching this. But I feel a responsibility to teach it, and I'm willing to take all consequences because I am a practitioner of the highest tantric path in Buddhism, which isn't a concentration on how to make love exquisitely, but it results in that. And it comes through the power of mantra, the power of meditation, the power of purifying your mind, and the power of being able to invoke certain deities to support you in your union with yourself, first and foremostly, to then be in union with another. So please never feel bad. This is a big journey that you're on individually, that you're lifting and bringing some extraordinary awareness. And again, why are we doing this? For the sake of our daughters, and our sons. To hold a baby boy and to be able to stroke him, and even when he's 3, be able to put flowers in his bedroom and encourage him to feel the sensitivity of how does this rose feel on your brow center, son? What color do you see if you close your eyes? So he's naturally understanding how to meditate. What about if I put this rose here on your heart center? Close your eyes. Tell me what you see now. And you're bringing them into this etheric sensitivity so that they've grown up with it, so they know how to etherically touch women when they're older, how to energetically be in this quality of softness. It's so important. So, you know, for my generation, I can see the change for my grandchildren. This is a long karmic process. That's why I'm here today, to plant the seeds. And the big part of this is, please don't make each other wrong, because that's where we fall. The highest tantric practice is to be able to hold each other in the highest light, give thanks for the fact you have an opportunity to bring your relationship into a deep level of conscious relationship, and to begin new things. Because it's amazing how two people will avoid truly looking at each other in the eye, truly stopping in stillness. So we have to cultivate that within ourselves first. And sisters have to let their brothers go to the cave internally when they need to withdraw to find themselves, without being in this needy place of taking it personally and feeling rejected, which we do. And for any sister that feels like my lover doesn't touch me in the way I really want to be touched, and doesn't know how to massage me and touch me all over, I always say to the sisters I work with in that way, please offer to give them the most incredible, erotic, delicious massages and get them to learn to receive. And that would be really healing for them. Like, to really honor every part of your lover, to really touch with great sensitivity and presence the whole of their body, and bring them deep into their heart and get them to breathe into these places and to reflect back to them their beauty and their purity beyond the story of the wound and the resentments that we carry because they didn't fulfill what we really wished for, and the disappointment and the expectations, because they never had it. And it's only when you can pass that can this start to come into balance. And for my older sisters here, you know, if it can't be that you're going to meet somebody who has that level of presence in this life yet, that's okay, because you can this is one night's dreaming in your soul's evolution. You can plant seeds for the future, for the children of the future. That's really important. That's how everything comes into being, to plant the seeds and water the seeds. But for my younger brothers and sisters here, like, how do you feel, by the way? How do you feel when I'm saying this to you? It's like, I know it's triggering stuff. Anybody want to say anything? Yes, sister? How do we begin? Yeah. Begin. So what I would generally do when I'm working with a couple, or on my on my 6 months training that I'm about to start, where I'm going to do a Zoom for everybody who wants to, free Zoom to come on and feel where we're going to go, and I'll do some exercises then. But it's basically to choose, when you're not exhausted, a time where you prepare yourself and you ask your lover to prepare, and then you create a sacred space with flowers and incense, sacred smells and music. And I would suggest that you sit on 2 dining chairs opposite each other, because that way your back can be supported. You can either be naked or not naked, but it's a prelude to love making. But before this, you're gonna work with each other where you call in the holy I am presence of all that you are. And I give you like an activation that it's not like I want to tell you what to do. It's definitely not going to become I'm telling you what to do in lovemaking. It's firstly getting you to the point where you harmonize atomically, energetically, and on a chakra level. And you start to feel your energy circulate and the expansion, and it's beyond the story, beyond that pain point. You're meeting, so you're really focusing on the highest light of your beloved, beyond all the wounds of this lifetime. And he is obviously focusing on the highest light of you. and your purity and your innocence. In fact, I'm making some very beautiful guided meditations to music on this, so that you can go, because to try and do it, you can get lost. I want to give you a structural shamanic holding. It's like a shamanic journey. And I would encourage, if anybody wanted to work with a homeopathic amount of Santa Maria marijuana, or a homeopathic of Amanita, for instance, Amanita muscara. It's a flygarric mushroom, not for some psychedelic thing to take you off, but for helping you to feel the shimmering light of your own chakras. And then in this type of meditation, you make a sacred commitment to each other, which isn't to be together for the rest of your life, but to hold each other in the highest light and want the best for each other. And this, everybody I've ever worked with over the years, whether it's a Muslim couple, a Hindu couple, a Jewish couple, whatever, everybody who don't even want to talk to each other are so angry. People who are at the point of divorce, once they meet each other beyond the story and beyond the emotional body, and they're in this harmonized place, atomically and energetically, the story drops away, because you're just with the beingness of you. Yeah. So, okay, thank you for that question. This sister asked, if you meet in these sacred ways, can the wounds be transcended? So that's a really important question. It can be transcended if you don't keep putting your tongue in the hole in the tooth, i.e. dwelling in the emotional body, looking for fault and going back to where the pain is, because it's so familiar to you. So that's why doing this in a sort of ritualistic way of sacredness with prayer really helps. So definitely come onto the free Zoom at the very least, and feel into this, because this is what I want to now, I'm just like, I've realised there's probably not a more important thing that I can do that to help couples stay in right relationships with themselves and deepen in union. Because how many people would feel like this would be good for you? Okay, thank you, that's good then. I'm in the right place at the right time. It makes me happy. Because sometimes I think to myself, God, am I just being a bit pushy? Okay, thank you. Yeah. And I, as I say, but for me, just being really transparent with this, I have been very, very blessed to have been in these utter divine bliss states with another, and also, basically my work takes me into the highest bliss states. That even though I have the most beautiful, yummy beloved that I love with all my heart, I actually choose not to be in a relationship, and I have done for quite a long time, because I feel to give all this energy and bliss and light to one person at this time would not be a good use of my energy and my time. So I'm in celibacy, and it's the most delicious. I've been celibate for probably, I don't know, a long time, maybe 10 years now, and feels so deliciously, orgasmically unified with the one, that there's no outer longing. And I'm blown away, because I'm a very sensual woman. I love the highest tantra, and I love union and intimacy. So that always surprises me, but I'm more fulfilled than anyone I know on all levels. There's no sacrifice to this. And now I realize, that's because my tantric energy is an outpouring to work with big amounts of people so that I can help. And that feels so yummy. And the other reason for that is because also I have experienced the place where I'm never apart from my consort on the inner plane. So I'm always in this cosmic divine lovemaking. People that know me well will always see me be in mudras. And when I'm in mudras, it's because I'm with the one, and he's in parallel mudras with me. And that's truth. It blows my mind. So you're always in the place that you're longing for. This isn't about effort, by the way. I really need to say that. When I share the depth of this is just about you feeling safe to come home into your body that is the innate divine wisdom carrier for the light of your spirit, which is what this whole sacred marriage is about. See that little painting at the front here? I put it on this altar. You see this melted place between these two lovers. I did that, and that's really, I love this painting. I can't help it, but I love it. Yeah, that's just a print of it. But the reason I love it so much, because it really is an embodiment. It's like a transmission to help you understand that nectar-filled place that is your longing. And so let's come back to this, right? So I talked about the first initiation is the purification of your sexual energy and the energies from your throat center coming into alignment, so that your sexual energy is drawn upwards now. It's no longer stuck in materialism, in needing something outside of you. Now that's imagine that. Let's start with that in terms of lovemaking. In lovemaking, there's this hungry need for some level of satisfaction in what we feel is the usual way. But if you're already feeling this unified state with yourself, there's more spaciousness and light. That every touch becomes blissful, so blissful that it expands and expands. Every touch, because you're in the stillness of the moment. So even like every touch, it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So it's not just like waiting for this moment, like, do you know what I mean? So when your sacral chakra energy starts to rise up, and this elixir, this fountain of sexual energy starts to rise up through your body, you're going to feel really inspired. You get new ideas. You have Shakti coming up through your hands out, and you start to feel like, oh my God, I've got so much pranic energy through my hand. I must be a healer. Don't trip into thinking you're the healer, because it's not you. All of everything I'm ever going to be talking about today and every other day is this whole purification process is about getting out of the way of yourself so divinity can flow right through you and you can become a hollow bone, a flute. And then that light can come through you. You don't have to take credit for it or claim it. Then you're not in your ego. Look at how much shamanic ego there is all over the place. Like the beauty is when we're so out of the way of ourselves that healing light comes through, the flavor, the perfume of your consciousness. That's your essence, but you don't have to claim it because you're at one with the one. You offered all that you are to the Creator. And you said, Creator Spirit, here I am, your daughter or your son. And you say your name, and you say, I offer all that I am, every atom of my being through time and space in service to all humanity. Please open me, work through me each and every day. And you make that offering before you make love. And you give with all generosity. And that generosity has to start with holding your lover in the absolute highest light, and definitely not thinking that you know what he or she's about to do next. Like, you can't preempt the next moment or start thinking, oh, I want this over there. because that takes it out of the Tao. And then you can't enjoy the freshness of revelation being revealed through your body that moves you into these divine, what becomes mudras. Like that's our natural state, family. So the second stage of initiation, this is all about clearing your central channel, the Sushumna, and for the activation of the sleeping serpent that's dormant at the base of your spine, to now be ready and have permission to be risen. So the Ida and the Pingala starts to be risen up, crossing at each of the chakra points. This is what eventually leads you back to what is called enlightenment, which is toroidal consciousness, to your authentic and natural primordial wisdom state of you, where you get to be fully you, not be anybody else. Nobody else can tell it to you. That's why if there's somebody saying, I'm going to teach you how to become this amazing lover or amazing anything, it's not true. All you have ever craved for is a container where you feel safe to come back down and in to the truth of your being and to be met there. That's what this is about. It's not about learning or doing something. It's about you unraveling you to be naturally more of you. That's the truth. And it's about you giving yourself permission to naturally be more of you and to trust yourself. The starting point, to trust yourself, to trust the light of your spirit to guide you, to move your hand in that way with that sacred touch, and you getting out of the left brain mind that compares yourself and thinks, is he going to think I'm a bit fucking crazy? You have to go beyond that. And to really know the level of your sacredness. Like, you have to know that your tongue is a petal that sits at the very top of your spine and is full of electricity and fire and is an activating force. So that's the kind of thing I like to help people learn about, is how amazing you are, your magic within your body, and just do these tiny little practices to start opening the gates etherically, because you are beyond magically intergalactical. And once again, you don't need drugs for going to those places of expanded consciousness. I'm not saying having a glass of wine or a tiny bit of something is okay, but to be obliterated, how many of you have been through the past times of couldn't really have sex unless you'd had quite a lot to drink? Years ago, that was the norm. I mean, we could have done, but most people didn't choose to. So this is about nakedness on a whole new level, and you have to be naked with you. So this second stage of initiation is, how do you align your solar plex to your heart? How do you get off the emotional treadmill? How do you stop having the spinning of your solar plex that's now sucking light towards you rather than becoming a radiant force of light? So most human beings are in a control drama, sucking light towards them, and it happens, where does it happen the most? Is in a relationship. When generally, this is how I've seen it, the guy doesn't do exactly what the woman wants and the woman goes into self-pity. How many people can identify with that? Poor guys. Like, it's a thing. So what I say is, an awakened person takes responsibility for what they're creating, and an unawakened person looks to blame. And Mahamudra and the Vajrayana lineage of Tantra, and Advaita, it's all about training yourself to be the witness, the divine witness that's looking through this brow center, and that trains itself to see beyond the wound that's being manifested in front of you in a dream that's your creation. All of it. And it's really hard to get your head around that until you wake up to realize this is true. And it's amazing. And how lucky are we? It's good dreaming, but I'm no joke with you. After 20 years of drinking ayahuasca, I can honestly tell you, this is a dream just like all the other dreams, and it's not something you're going to remember in your future lives. Any of the story of this. It really is powerful to really put that into contemplation. So then who are you with and why are you with them? What is this that you've generated? Oh. Yeah, go on then.
How do you know when it is energetic integrity to break something off inside? Beyond
Okay.
coming into the silence, of course, always coming into the silence of the heart and seeing guidance. But
Yes.
I'm wondering if there's some practical.
Really important question. I'm going to say that out so if we can hear. This beautiful sister just asked, how do you know if it's in energetic integrity to break off a relationship with someone? And I guess that could be both a relationship with the lover or even as a friend. So your body's wisdom and intelligence is going to tell you whether this relationship drains you and is stopping your spiritual evolution. So sometimes we need to go through something to crack something inside of ourselves that can be really deep and painful. And sometimes we stay in things for quite a long time, hurting ourselves, going down and in to understand those parts of our psyche. And that can actually be healing. And that person's playing something for us, and that they loved us enough to be that person in the dream of our dream to bring us down and in to see an aspect of ourselves, or several. But one day you've got to look, and you have to meditate on it and look at it very squarely and go, how would it be? In fact, I'm working with this gay couple, this guy that keeps talking about it's not my forever partner, about this guy that he's with. But he doesn't want to leave him because he knows it would break him right now. And so everything has to be through harmlessness. And yet, one of the teachers that I really respected for many years, he said something like, if you're in a relationship that's harmful to you, that harms you etherically and energetically, and knocks you out of your emotional center really strongly, and you can't make your alignment, and that person is sucking your light and sucking your energy and not looking within themselves for their own, then I would say, what he was saying actually, and I really loved this, that's what helped me in those times, is when you withdraw yourself, that person has to go in and look and find their own inner light. Now, if you're in a relationship, and I have seen people in relationships like this, where these days they worry if they were to leave them, this person's going to kill themselves, that holds them in a very precarious situation. And actually, I've even seen that happen, where somebody did. A young woman, she wasn't my client, she's a friend's daughter, but left her partner because he was just it was impossible, and he killed himself. And it's such a big thing, big deep thing. So in terms of energetic integrity, you can ask yourself, what am I learning from this? Does this relationship expand me? Do I honestly feel in my heart, through another deepening in my awakening, I have the skill set to help this person crack through where they're blocked? Now, actually, love does heal everything. It's a miracle, and you're a powerful Shakti sister and a teacher in your own right. So you could, but then you have to ask yourself, is this conducive to my spiritual growth at this time? Or is this holding me back? Is this person needy and clingy and sucking? So that's what I would say. Is that helpful? Okay. Okay, so carrying on the emotional body. So the second initiation, okay, 15 minutes, thanks. In terms of the, how do you get off the emotional treadmill? That's the hardest gateway to go through. The emotional treadmill is, they say, to take this initiation in the time of Jesus as the Christ. He asked John the Baptist to baptize him in the waters, which represented this initiation, which is the purification of the emotional body. It's the hardest of all of the initiations because they go right up to 7 initiations. I'm going to just talk about 3 today because that's what it would take for you to be in sacred union with your brow center open and Kundalini to have got to the height of your crown center. So to get off the emotional treadmill, the easiest way is, in every situation, every day, you have to basically stop taking anything personally. Full stop. If you take another person's shit behavior personally, then you're down there with them in that churning of the emotional body. So to get through the second gateway where you've come into your heart, you have to start asking yourself the question, what would love do? And to go beyond their wound, you have to hold them in the highest light. Even if they are a heroin addict, it doesn't mean you have to hang out with these people. But you don't have to take their behavior personally. Let's say you go home for Christmas. One way you can test yourself if you have gone through the second initiation, which is the initiation of discernment and discrimination. So with a second initiation, if you go home for Christmas and you're still finding yourself agitated and irritated by your mum, your dad, your sister, you know you're still there. And yet another life of you wandering in the mist, taking everything personally and lost. You just had another life of that. And we've been going round and round in this emotional mist, which is called samsara, connected to the astral plane of illusions, which is not connected to the real, because we keep buying into the story of all the drama that was your first karmic conditioning of who you were born into and through. And here's the thing, once you start to see this from ageless wisdom, this is the magic here, everything that you were born into happens to be the absolute perfect soil for your spiritual growth. It's what grates up against you, that sister that wasn't kind to you or didn't hold you in the highest light, or that father that was absent, never there. Everything you, specifically you, I'm talking to every single person here, everything that was around you was exactly what you need to grow. It's trained you to see things in certain ways for you to come into the empowerment of realizing, I have to clear this. The holy I am that was never born, never died, and is stainless purity, that came into this family with all these distortions and uncomfortable things, is what I've come to clean by helping to hold them in the highest light, to see beyond the wound of their ignorance and narcissism or absence or whatever, and to pray for them, to chant for them for the future lifetimes, so that you can have brought benefit for them, because you are the change that you wanted to see on this earth. You're the cutting edge of the transformation on humanity, in humanity, and it is what's going to bring peace onto this earth, is your capacity to harmonize all the discordance you were born through. Doesn't mean you have to put yourself in harm's way and go and even necessarily speak to some people that were so distorted. But you can bless them and pray for them and want the best for them and forgive them and not hold resentment to them and really want the best for them. That's the biggest offering we can do on this earth, in reality. Now, one guy, he's a beautiful man, very generous, very sweet. He looks like he could have been a gangster, comes to my ceremonies. And his father he was so nasty, his dad. He used to beat his family. I think from what he said to me, he made his sister pregnant. Yeah, he abused him, this guy I'm talking about, sexually abused him and his brother. And they grew up in just immense violence, full stop. And this man, this grown man, used to be so angry with his mum for not leaving him. And this man has become a multi-millionaire. He has the opportunity to be very, very generous, very kind, and he transformed it all. But about a year ago, he was still angry with his father, and now he's done the work. In fact, he asked, I don't know if you've seen a Tibetan Lama walking around here, he's a dear friend of mine, Lama Abe. He asked Lama Abe to do a very special puja for his father to help to clear his sins, his ignorance, his arrogance. Because sometimes we attract people of that level into our lives because you actually end up accumulating merit when you pray for them and want the best for them, which is what becomes more light and more chi to build the soul, the perfume of your consciousness. 3 minutes? Oh, third one. Okay, thank you. Sorry, do I just go on? I beg your pardon. Okay, third initiation. He came to my talk yesterday and I did promise I would talk about that. Okay, so how we're designed is harmlessness in action, right speech, right relationship, right action, love in action is what opens your crown chakra, what activates your pineal glands, your pituitary glands, and your carotid gland. Eventually, when there's so much light through what you generate in your loving kindness, your compassion, your patience, your tolerance, and being a really good person every day, in every way, in every situation, always, this generates enough chi and fire in your head centers that these 3 glands fire together, boof, like that. A bang of white light happens internally. And now your body has prepared itself, has purified itself to be able to hold the voltage of the cosmic fire, of the light of your soul, spirit, to travel. I mean, that's a magnificent amount of energy. Even electric fire is a lot. But the light of your spirit to travel unimpeded all the way down to the base of your spine, to merge. So that's the father aspect of creation, merging with the mother, the great mother, Shakti Kundalini, at the base of your spine in their sacred marriage, so that the Ida Pingala can travel up. And this then brings this whole Kundalini awakening inside you that feels like a physical orgasm pales, even all night long physical orgasms pale into insignificance when this Kundalini sacred marriage light travels from the great mother, opening every cell in your body into the light of liquid bliss, crossing each of your chakras, activating, opening all the gates, all the way to the crown of your head, and opening the crown of your head as a toroidal fountain of energy coming back up through the base of your spine like this, And this is what opens your brow center. And now you're ready to be in the highest level of your service, to have each day and each moment, because you trust Creator God's guidance to guide you into the right activity, in the right plan in every moment, to show you what it is that needs to be done. And that opens you into your highest fulfillment, which is this radiant blue jewel that's planted deep into your heart center. Imagine this. This is how specifically you're designed. That whole mythology about the Holy Grail, it is inside you. It's right in that 12-petal lotus inside your heart. There is a diamond blue radiant jewel, which is your ultimate fulfillment, that the Creator knows you so intimately that everything that you would enjoy and love more than you could ever imagine becomes your outpouring and your offering of you. That is the third initiation. And I touched upon the fifth. So at each initiation, you glimpse the second one, the other one. So let's say when you take the first initiation, you glimpse the third. You start to feel activations at your brow center. You start to feel all this shimmering energy, transmissions. How many of you feel that? A lot. Good. That's so good. Yeah, so you're glimpsing, and then the gate opens, and once it opens, you cannot help but see the kingdom of heaven revealed, because it's all here, etherically and energetically. So I'm really excited about showing you how to work with each other etherically and energetically. And I'm going to answer one question that I can hear and feel. If you're not in a relationship, could you do a training like this? Well, you can do, if you want to feel that you're working with your beloved on the inner planes, calling that beloved to you, to be prepared. You could. I saw some hands going up, and I didn't make very much time for questions. Who want? Yes, sister.
I had a peak experience when I split with my ex-partner of 5 years in a coaching session when I was trying to process through my grief. There was a whole process to it, but ultimately, to sum it up, the coach asked me what it was that I was really desiring, and I said it's deep merging. And I had a spontaneous experience of this
Union.
Yeah. Union. And I stayed in that state for quite some time afterwards.
Beautiful.
That was 3 years ago. My dating life since has been an absolute shit show.
But that's, Spirit has given you that for a reason. Just one split second. Scooby, could you just make sure everybody going out can, if they want to, leave their emails to be on the database? Thank you. If you're, in case you want to get newsletters about any of this. Yeah. So,
But my question was, you know, when, and I've also had peak experiences in lovemaking too. My question is really, as an individual, how do we then ground and integrate these experiences?
that's such a good question. Well, firstly, and it is hard, because when you have those, you can go into feeling that you're really special and important. And then you can definitely go into feeling superior, and it's very hard for somebody to come and meet you in that place. I'm not speaking specifically to you, but it is part of the process. So I feel like service, selfless service, grounded, walking. Like I really like talking a lot about when people have Kundalini awakenings, because it is hard to ground it. And in my case, I had 4 kids. That definitely kept me grounded. But grounded activity, service, cleaning your house, making sure your altars are clean, you know, like that kind of thing, planting things in the ground, basic stuff. Really, you know, like I've really found, like, I'm quite up there and out there in bliss states. Cleaning my house and having to go shopping to feed the children is very good.
I'm a cleaner, so that kind of works.
I was as well when I had my Kundalini wake up, actually. Yes, sister.
First of all, deep gratitude for so beautifully and articulately and powerfully speaking so
Yes.
Was your decision, or was your, you said you're celibate. Was it a choiceless destination without resistance, or has it been a chosen path?
Oh yeah, thank you. Good question. Certainly. So,
What's the question?
oh, the question was my decision to be celibate for whatever it is. I think possibly 10 years. Was it a choiceless path, or did I have resistance? It was such a good question. So I just want to put this into context. So I was with that lover for about 8 years, and he used to support my ceremonies. He's a beautiful musician. He introduced me to things that, he gave me very good gifts. Now, he came into a relationship with me when my partner had just died, and I was single parent of 4 kids, and my baby was 5 months old. And he was a very high yogic tantric lover, the lover prior to the one after. But the one after, who I'm still very close friends with and love very deeply, was like a soul companion that stepped in when my daughter was 1.5, something like that, or 1 actually. And, my kids definitely did not want some other guy to be there in any level of father figure, let alone to have their mummy's attention that's always working and very big woman, to now have somebody else that's taking any energy. And he could feel that, and it hurt him, and yet we have an exquisite harmony. So it was this painful thing that I had to work through of, it works when we were working together, because he traveled with me to different places. I was giving retreats and so many things, but it was always, there was an element of selfishness for me and for him, really, on some level, in relationship to my children. There was that. And then there was a moment where it was just time to let go. He was actually building somewhere. He was offered to be with somebody to build this extraordinary place, which I now go and give retreats, and it's like a temple, and it feels so like it was built for me. And it was really. That's what I think. But at that time, I knew that I wasn't going to be opening myself to somebody else. And I just knew that it just felt like there's no extra room in my life, because I work running big retreats, holding a lot of people, and I just couldn't see somebody coming in. And, so I just let that go. And then after about a year or 2 years, I was like, I feel amazing. And then what was really interesting was all that Shakti, Kundalini that I would give to one started to come up through my body into even more bliss. And I've always had since 1994, I'm very experienced this cosmic orgasm, and crown chakra open to the sky. It's very strong. Enormous amount of light. Like the idea of having more through psychedelics or ayahuasca, that was like, no way. I would hate to have more than I already have, just so you know. But as it happened, what I didn't understand, and what I began aware of, is that how ayahuasca, for instance, helps to heal the bloodline 7 generations back, and it's a whole other thing. And she's very grounding, very humbling. All the medicines, hikori, peyote, all of them. So, but thank you for that question. Yes.
My question, firstly, also amazing, is when you referenced about the glass, and when you
Oh, yes.
and it becomes smaller than it seems, in the relationship context, how do you know when you keep the stone in the glass and you
Yeah.
shit up, that actually, like, you're trying to get through it, you're trying to move through it?
It takes enormous discipline, because the ego part, or the one that's addicted to putting her tongue in the hole in the tooth, or going back into the pain body, because it's the core wound. Your relationship, everybody's relationship, in a mundane relationship. So what I've been opening the conversation of today is what you would call a high tantric relationship, because that is the future. But most people are in a mundane relationship where they're working karma out and bringing their baggage to each other, and it's horrible. It's not easy. It's really tough. And yet you can grow through it and learn through it. But for all women and men, but particularly women that are awakening, the core discipline we have to have is to not bring up the past and say, yeah, but you do this and you do, like the minute you do that. In fact, the best thing to change it is to go and say, look, humbly, I really want to say how sorry I am for all the times that I've gone into blame and been triggered my core child wound. I am really sorry. I love you. And I'm really going to do my absolute best to stop dumping my shit. I really love you. And I know that we're triggering each other's wounds, but I'm going to really do, I've just made a decision today. I'm going to meditate more, and I really would love you to meditate with me. Are you open to this? That's what you could say.
Yeah, and you just stop going into it.
You have to stop going into it.
Because we're in relationship coaching, which is beautiful, we're both coaches, but then I feel like there's a way that you get caught.
Yeah, because the ego's so subtle and passively aggressive.
Yeah. And then you
Oh my God.
miss the joy.
And that's why meditating together is essential, by the way. If you want this quality of relating that I've just pointed the door to, now I know that we have to finish. I'm going to be outside if you want to meet me, and if you want to be on my mailing list, Scooby will help me and all of that stuff. Yeah? Oh, hold on, let's just finish with one prayer. Can we? Thank you, everybody. Okay. From the point of light within the mind of existence, light streams forth into the minds of all mankind. Light illumines this earth. From the point of love within the heart of existence, love streams forth into the hearts of all. I am you, you am I, we are one. From the center known as humanity, purpose and intent aligns in loving service to the one and all. From the center known as humanity, the plan of love and light is now made fully manifest. Love and light and wisdom now restores the balance on planet Earth. Love and light and wisdom now restores the balance on planet Earth. Everybody say this with me. Love and light and wisdom now restores the balance on planet Earth. And so it is. May the light of Spirit shine upon us, upon all beings, in all planes and all dimensions, now and forevermore, for the ultimate good of all. Om Shanti, 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 Om. Om Shri Vajraruga Samaya Manavalaya Vajraruga Nanama Tito Juda Mebawa Sudukaya Mebawa Subukaya Mebawa Narata Mebawa Savazidi Mandras Sawakama Sutsomi Tisham Shriyam Kuru Ha Ho Bhagawan Vajraruga Mami Mutsu Haruka Bawa Mahasama Satwa Hong Bei. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. All in the name of the Mother, the Soul, and the collective consciousness of humanity. Ahom Takwyasin.